Hello there. 0360 was at WISE Accra, the largest gathering of stakeholders and leaders in the education industry. We had the opportunity to talk to some of the guests at the event about some of the problems in our education system and some of the solutions we can implement to ensure quality education in Africa.
My name is Dotse, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Teach for Ghana. Teach for Ghana is fundamentally a leadership development organization. We're trying to develop the next generation of Ghanaian leaders who would work in all sectors to ensure that every child in this country has access to an excellent education, irrespective of their socioeconomic background. Currently, we have 25 schools in our network of partner schools that are benefiting from the Teach for Ghana program. Well, we're one of those organizations that focus on STEM. So we teach in 4 main subjects, which is English, Maths, Science, and ICT. Because these are the subjects that we think a lot of our kids are failing in when it comes to the basic education certificate examination. So those are the 4 subjects that we focus on. We had a 30-year vision, and we're in 2018 now, so we are literally baby steps heading towards that vision. But what I can tell you is I think we're making tremendous strides. We're making mistakes and we're learning from our mistakes, but we're definitely on course to attaining that 30-year vision that we have set for ourselves. I think when it comes to education, there's so many factors at play, there's so many facets at play. So I can't tell you one thing that education is doing wrong, but I can tell you that it would take individuals and leaders in all sectors to correct the wrongs that is happening in education more broadly. I think it's important that the next generation of leaders on the continent in Africa really understand the intersections of the multiple, private government sectors and how they affect education. So, for instance, children in Africa who are missing school because of malaria, that is a healthcare problem. That is not an education problem, right? So the next generation of leaders need to understand how healthcare is affecting education, so they can draw solutions from the health sector, the transportation sector, the judicial sector, as well as the education sector to ensure that every child has access to an excellent education. To answer that question, I think I strongly believe education is a silver bullet solution to all societal problems. However, there is no single silver bullet solution to education. So we will always take multiple players. We will always take the people coming from different sectors. So I wouldn't say there's one thing that we probably need to focus on. I think it will be a multiple conversation points that we need to drill on when it comes to education. I strongly believe that we have no choice but to leapfrog. That's one. The other thing too is we have little option not to leapfrog, and I'll explain that. The second part being, for instance, we have kids in Ghana today who have never used a landline. Right, they're moving straight to the mobile phone. It's not by choice. Like, they don't have to use the landline to get to the mobile phone stage. So not by choice they have to use those instruments. It's the same thing for education and for Africa itself. So there's certain conditions that will just force us to, by default, leapfrog. The other portion is we are not developing as fast enough to catch up with what is happening globally. And the only way we can really develop fast, again, is to leapfrog. So we have no choice. We just have to do that. I think the question becomes, how do we do it? How do we facilitate these leapfrogs? And what are the things we even call leapfrogs in the first place? I think Aisha at today's session said something about their literacies, right? So you have the reading and writing, of course. Coding languages is, you definitely have to be literate in that, being computer savvy. So I do think we need to focus on all the literacies, but I think the two things that form the fundamentals of all these is maths and science. I mean, maths and English. Right? If you're good at maths and you can read and write, you're better positioned to learn how to code, better positioned to learn how to probably just read a manual to be able to use a computer. So it still comes down to those two things, mathematics and English.